Hey, kid.
Hey.
So,
Sorry, I was taking a sip of my coffee. I got an idea.
okay.
So there's 20 days left till the party, so I think I'm gonna just film the whole 20 days and not put together any video until the party's over. And it's just gonna be the 20 days till the party, and I have so much to do that it's like, that's the story. I think it'll be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think it could be, and you'll get your stuff done.
Yep. All right, let me start by saying thank you if you're watching this, because I have no idea what to title this video or how to present it to everybody. So if you decided to click on this, I appreciate it.
Imagine right now is our Halloween party, and they are like, oh, I hate this Halloween party because they had to go through all this.
Oh, what?
All this junk.
All this junk, let's see. How bad is it?
100.
100 bad?
Uh-huh.
All right, well, looks like we gotta start cleaning. Me and my wife have been hosting this party for about 15 years now, and before that, I was even hosting it without her for about 10. So we've been doing this party for about 25 years, and every year I try to make it bigger and better than the year before, and it's so much work leading up to it. This year we were so busy because our kids are involved in a lot of extracurricular activities. So 20 days out from the party, all I had done was put up that tree with the little maze off the back and built the skeleton, which you'll see a little later in this video.
We're starting to get this stand ready, so I want to get it ready for my dad.
Normally I find myself getting ready for this in late August or early September, but this was the last week of September. Actually, it was the last day of September, and we had 20 days until the party. So there was a ton to do. As you can see, this barn is a complete disaster inside. What do you got going on?
I'm decorating the ticket stand.
The party is outdoors and in the barn and underneath a tent out front. So I wanted to make sure everything outdoors was looking pretty solid and clean. So cleaning out the lumber rack is a good thing to start with, because I'm going to use some of the lumber and also have to put some lumber that is in this barn onto the rack. So to get it all organized before I even clean out the barn was probably a good idea. I spent the entire first day just cleaning out the barn and getting it all organized, bringing things up and down the stairs, things that needed to come down for the party and things that needed to go up to get out of our way. Carrying big things up these stairs by yourself is not a smart move, but had to get done, so I just got to work and did what I could. My stress level leading up to this party was so high because I was so worried I wasn't going to get everything done in time. And this is usually one of my favorite parts of the year, and this year it ended up, in the long run, it ends up being one of my favorite parts of the year still. But at the beginning, I was stressing really hard and getting real worried that I wasn't going to get this done in time. I store a lot of mirrors in my barn just because I like to use them at craft fairs, so I keep them around at all times. And I decided that it'd be a good idea to just take these mirrors and hang them up in the barn, because I think they kind of give a bit of a creepy vibe when you don't know what's behind you, what's in front of you. When you're hanging out, you look, you see a mirror, you think it's a window, something pops up, it's like, ah. Anyway. All right, let's take a look around. What did we get done today? The barn, I can walk in it, so that's good.
Not much, but it's a little cleaner in here.
It's a lot cleaner. And then we got the wood rack. It's all organized now. Lots to do. Day 20 done. 19 more days. All right, 20 days. Well, I guess 19. I don't know. The party is 20 days from today, but really I got 19 days left to get ready for the party. Heading into work today. Today I gotta kind of just give away. I'm really not gonna get anything done today because I'll be at work all day, then I gotta get the kids after work. I may be able to stop into the store. I wanna get one more skeleton because I wanna make a skeleton pushing like a bar cart I found on the side of the road a few days ago. And that'll be really cool, I think. We always put out a bunch of drinks at the party, and having a skeleton pushing that would be cool. Anyway, so I was fortunate enough to find all of these 2x4s on the side of the road on my route. I'm a mailman and I'm friendly with all the people on my route. And this guy was taking down a deck in his backyard and told me I could have all the 2x4s. So every day when I was out on the route, I'd pull up and there'd be more stuff out on the route for me to pick up and take home with me. And just shove it into the back of the mail truck and bring it back to my car and put it in my car at the end of the day. I think this would have ended up costing me way more than I was willing to spend if I hadn't found these on the side of the road. I could have used pallet boards, but then you're nailing 2x4s together to create longer 2x4s, and it would have been a much longer project. So I was really grateful to find these. All I did to get this maze up was I laid it out on the ground ahead of time, so I knew the path I was going to take. Then I could spray paint lines next to all the 2x4s that were on the ground so that I had a nice layout of where I wanted to go, because it got confusing once you started putting these all on the ground. I dug holes for some of the 2x4s to go into, and then I could put them down into the hole and fill the hole back up with dirt. Then I started putting up the plastic and realized this wasn't enough support for the plastic to not blow all over the place and eventually fall off. So I went and bought these, what are they called? Furring strips. And they work great. I could just nail or screw these right to the sides of all these boards down at the bottom so that I have somewhere else that I can attach this plastic to. This big roll of plastic is like $100 at Home Depot, but lucky me, my dad has had it for years and used what he needed out of it and just said, take it, I don't want it anymore, it's just been in his way. So I went over, I grabbed it, and stapled this all over to the sides. Oh, and look at that. There was a little baby mouse. Actually, I found like 8 of them once I unfolded this tarp. But there was a little baby mouse sitting right there, and I put them all in a box and put them off to the side where the dogs couldn't get to them. And then I was hoping the mother mouse would come back because I saw it run away. And then I took the box and moved it back over to where the tarp was, and the next morning I came out and my dog was eating them all. Sorry if that's, I don't know, gross for you, but nature, huh? So I went on Facebook and put a post up that said, does anybody have an old pool cover that they don't want anymore and they're looking to get rid of, it's just in their way? And I also, I think, wrote, I have no money. And I got a message right away. 3 above ground pool covers. So it was enough to cover the whole top of this, black it all out, and stapled it all on. Alright, so I wanted to make a big Grim Reaper out in front of this, kind of like the Die Trying logo. I decided I'd use PVC for the inside, which is something I've been doing forever, but I didn't have any right angles or anything like that, so I decided I would burn it. I've done this before in the past, it works. I know this is janky as hell, but I didn't want to go spend any extra money, and honestly, nobody's going to see it, so who cares, it works. I used my blowtorch and just burned it till it was soft enough for me to bend, then I could bend it and spray it with hose water to get it to solidify into that position. I had some junk plywood laying around because I just have junk laying around everywhere. It's just a problem of mine. So I cut the junk plywood into kind of like a V shape and screwed this PVC right to it. After that, I covered it with some pool noodles, and then it was time to attach this skull. I got this skull over at the Home Depot, maybe? I don't remember, to be honest, but I drilled a hole in the bottom of it the same size as that pipe, and when I went to put it on, it was a little too tight, so I just hit it with a lighter for a second to soften it up, put it on, and then covered the whole thing with chicken wire. Once the chicken wire was all on, I could bring it over to a pipe that I had hammered into the ground and slide it right onto that pipe. And voila, he was standing up. I laid these 4x4s on the ground, which you'll see why in 1 second. After that, I could just take some of this weed mat and start wrapping it around my Grim Reaper. I ended up really unhappy with that weird hand that was just kind of like up. So eventually I ended up turning it to hold on to this post that I had that I could hang a little lantern off of. Oh, and there you go, the 4x4s. I could just use a staple gun to staple the weed mat down onto the 4x4s and then spread them out around it to create kind of like a round draping look. And then I don't have to worry about the stuff blowing away in the wind. And there you go. I really like this guy. He was new this year. I've never made this guy before, and he really reminds me a lot of the Die Trying logo, so I was pretty happy with him. Hi, it's October 1st, which means the party's on the 19th, which means 18 days to get ready, including today. Let's put some guys together and at least get them out in the barn. That is going to be Agnes behind the bar. I called her Agnes one time to my daughter and she thought it was funny, so that name has always stuck. It's the witch. She used to be upstairs in the barn door where you saw Michael Myers earlier, stirring a big pot. Anyway, here's that skeleton that I grabbed that one day on my way to work. I wanted its mouth to be open, so I just took some toothpicks and broke them until they fit perfectly in the mouth, and I could use some hot glue to hold them in there, which turns out was a mistake, but it worked out. But you'll see, I decided to cover the whole head with plastic and then take my torch. I should clarify, I should have a smaller torch or a heat gun to do this, but I don't have one, so I just used this gigantic torch and melted plastic all over that work table. And when I did, all the teeth that were glued in with hot glue just melted and fell out. No big deal because I just stuck them back in and it worked out fine. It gives it this whole like gnarly, kind of like rotten dead skin look, and then I could just cover it with a couple layers of paint and I was good to go. I love this guy. I ended up putting bottles of wine on the cart with some cups for everybody at the party. It worked out great. The next morning I came out and started getting ready to put in some of the stuff outside. I started with what is typically Frankenstein, but that mask actually reached its end last year. It rotted and fell apart, which was really upsetting because it's one of my favorite masks. But don't worry, I got a new Frankenstein mask that you'll see in a couple minutes. I was digging this hole and the shovel broke, so instead of just going to the store and getting a new shovel, I just finished the hole with that tiny little short stubby thing.
That's what she said.
I was racing and you lose. Then it was time to put up the pumpkin arch, and I'm not going to get into the details of this because there's already a video about it and you can watch that video right here, or maybe there's a link down below. I don't know how YouTube works, but I'll figure it out and do it later.
He looks real now.
It looks like he's howling up at the moon.
No, I think you should like make his head straight and then put it off.
How about that? Tilted.
Yeah.
You like him?
I'm standing right next to a werewolf right now.
After I beat my son in a race and made a complete fool out of him, I put up that pumpkin arch. Alright, we're in the barn that night now, and I'm making this scarecrow idea I had, which was very simple, and I really, really like this. It was just two pieces of PVC in a T shape, a long one going down to the ground with some short ones sticking off the sides. And then I took some sticks and wrapped all of the PVC. These are actually branches from a weeping willow tree that I have in my backyard. I wrapped these all around the entire thing and then just secured it with some zip ties. Once I had those all secure, I took some sticks and stuck them into the ends of the arms of the PVC. So we got like a T like this, and then coming out of here and coming out of this side of the T are some sticks that would fit into the holes of the PVC. And then I continued to wrap this weeping willow branches and all these other branches and sticks that I found. I even went out to my garden and cut down all of the corn stalks and wrapped them around it. This is just a head from Home Depot and it lights up. I love this new little scarecrow. He came out really cool. Then I can move on to putting up the pop-up skeleton. There's a video for that, which will also be linked below or right here or something. Just look for it. Love this pop-up skeleton. It's great. It jumps up and scares people at the party. Every year it works great and everybody seems to love it. I've never had any problems with it. You should definitely build one. You should definitely build one. I started building the fence around all of this, and then it was time to clean out the big lumber pile in the back of the barn so people don't trip and fall over this. This is also all pressure treated wood that somebody gave me from their house when they took down their deck, and I've been using it a little bit at a time for the past 3 years, and it's worked out really good for me. Thanks, Matt. And then I had a whole bunch of bullshit I had to burn, and some of it might have been a little pressure treated, and I wanted to get rid of it before the party, so I threw it in this fire pit and just started a big huge fire, as you can see right there. I could slowly work things into the fire all day this way, and then I went out into the woods and gathered some logs. We have a little patch of woods in the back of our property. I could grab some logs from there and start building the Pumpkin Man, which is another video that I made a long time ago, and there's a link down below or right here for you to go watch that. Here's a quick run through of me building it. I just screw the legs together to give it kind of like a knee effect, and then I could just screw it in this spot where his penis would be, you know, the crotch. And there's the arms and the waist, and I just screw those in too, and you get the point. But like I said, if you want to see the whole video, it's actually a pretty fun video. Go check that one out. I put the head on, and then me and my son added all of the fabric and branches and everything to give it a pumpkin vine creepy scarecrow effect. And unfortunately, woke up this morning and came out here, and this shit sucks, because the pumpkin guy who I put up last night before I went in fell down. No big deal. I think we can stand him back up, but I gotta figure out how I'm gonna reinforce him. Easier than I thought it was gonna be. I stood him right up, and then I used some steel pipes.
Okay, you see he doesn't have a head, so he can't see you.
What are you doing?
Getting this clothes going for the new coffin man we're making.
Alright.
Stop.
And there he is again, stomping on some clothes from the Salvation Army so he can dirty them up for this guy. I'm building a coffin now out of pallets, and meanwhile my son was still stomping on clothes, falling over on them, you know, all that good stuff. And I'm not going to get into the details of this video either, because I built a coffin just like this years ago in that pop-up skeleton video that I already suggested and is either here or before or whatever. Anyway, but I made it all out of pallets this time, and it worked great. So you could definitely use pallets to make a coffin. This head right here is going to be the one that I use inside of the coffin. We'll get to that in a minute. But I wanted to show you that I just cut the bottom off it and then filled it with spray foam. I didn't know how I was going to go about attaching this head to the PVC, and this was the best idea I had. It worked really great. I filled it with spray foam and stuck this pole right inside of there and let it sit for 24 hours, and when I came out it was all solid and ready to go. While that was drying, it was time to put up my new Frankenstein. I love this method for putting up, guys. I just used an old boot like you can see right there, drilled a hole in the bottom of it, and then hammered this garden fence post down into it. And I could take this guy and attach him right to it with like 6 zip ties. Make sure you buy some heavy duty zip ties for this so it doesn't fall over. But now it'll look like it's freestanding. I pulled down the pants. I didn't like the way it looked. It was a little loose and baggy, so I added that foam like you can see right there. So now you got to put the other leg on. For that, I just used this piece that I had. This is just something I had. It's a rain gutter attachment. I just used this, shoved it in the boot, and there you go. He looks like he's freestanding. It's really cool looking. It's much more realistic than a lot of the other guys. After that, I could take these PVC arms and stick them in, and there we go. I attached my Frankenstein hands and Frankenstein mask. It's one of my favorite things of the whole year. Something about him was really cool looking. Oh, I will say I was given a mannequin chest and waist for this that this is all attached to, so he's filled out really well. But you can fill him out pretty easily with just like a pillow and some foam or chicken wire like I did earlier. That'll really help to fill out anything that's just simple PVC. Alright, moving back over to the coffin. Here's my guy with the foam inserted into his head, and he's attached like you can see right there. All I did was take a long PVC pipe, and it wedges between the top where his head is and the bottom of the coffin. I just put a shirt on it. Really simple, but I really like this one. This is one of my favorites of this year too. Doesn't move or anything. I end up covering it with spider webs later in the video and a strobe light. So this was the first day, I think, that the kids weren't home. They both went to school that day, and I had the whole day to get as much ready as I could. I went into the barn, and I'm going to fly through this day because it was a lot of small things. I put up these curtains, and then I wasn't happy with how dark it was in there, so I covered the back with black plastic I had left over, and then from there I could start putting up all these curtains on top of that. But I turned the lights on, and then while the lights were on, I could go ahead and set up my projector and create kind of like a movie theater curtain around it out of burlap. I do this every year just by hanging some burlap along the top of it and then down the sides of it. It just gives it a creepy vibe. And there's Agnes at the bar right there. We got that little light that shines on her. I end up moving that light somewhere else because it only comes on if there is something that hits it. So I like to put it on a food table where somebody's going to be reaching for food. But anyway, I put all these glass like chemistry set things on that bar, and then after that I can move to the outside. This is all the same day. That's just how dark it is in that barn now that I blacked out all the windows. It's so cool in there. I love it. This guy my cousin Stacy made back in like the early 90s, I believe. And I still have it, Stacy. It's awesome. Thank you for making it. There used to be another one with a snake that came out and wrapped all around its head, but I have probably 15 of these scarecrows. I hammer them into the ground every year. It's just furring strips nailed together with a shirt and burlap head. Reminds me of Children of the Corn. And this guy right here is the grandfather from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the first thing I ever made that was made out of PVC. I made it back in the 90s also. I made him out of 3-inch PVC, and he was super expensive to make. So ever since then I've used thinner PVC and foam noodles. It's a cheaper way to go. But that 3-inch PVC really does work well and makes for a really thick, wide mannequin.
Answer my question.
What?
Is it a little bit creepy? But
It's
not
a little
too
bit
creepy for
creepy.
children.
You gotta watch Over the Garden Wall. It reminds me of it. All right, I didn't film at all today, but what have we been doing, Ludo?
Making Halloween stuff.
And cleaning.
Hello.
Have we been cleaning all done?
Yeah.
Cleaning. We're getting there. There's only 9 days till the party. No, 8, something like that. I don't know. But the inside of the barn is starting to look pretty empty. That'll be the food table. I think I already said all this shit. Anyway, we're getting there. My buddy Pieko is coming over tonight, Tom, and we're going to put up the lights and spider webs and shit and watch some movies and have a drink. We didn't end up doing anything but watching some movies on the big screen TV right behind me, and it was worth it. So fun. Hi, Tom. Alright, so I came home one night and nobody was home, so I decided I would put lights up on all of the outside lights. I got that all done in one night, which was great because it can be a real pain in the ass. After that was done, I was able to rest for like 4 days before this party. I actually got it done earlier than I expected, and I was nervous I wouldn't get it done at all. So this worked out great, and once we were 2 days away from the party, I came back outside and I could put up this tent with my son. So we got the tent up and we got going, getting everything else ready. I went into that haunted house and did a bunch of decorating, but I wasn't going to get into showing you all of that because it's pretty hard to film inside of there. It was so dark and there wasn't any light. This was one of the best parties we've ever had. We did our dance contest, we did Halloween trivia, we did a scream contest. I think the haunted house was really the reason why I loved it so much. The kids were in there screaming, running around, having fun. So were the adults. I honestly don't know what it is about Halloween, but God, I love this holiday so much. And I hope you guys have a great Halloween, and I'm back to regular videos after this one. Sorry I have been MIA for so long because I have just been busy getting ready for this. So back to regular videos. Love you guys. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one later.
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!
Bye, see you again, and have a good dream.